my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
hello, hello. Welcome back to Put a Ring on It. This is season 4, episode 2. What's the stuff? How are you doing there?
Hey, ready to roll with it.
All right,
How are
good.
you?
I'm great. I'm great. Yeah. So, what did you think, just briefly, of this episode, Roro?
Well, it was interesting to say the least. Action packed.
Yeah, it was. It gave us a lot with a very interesting ending too, I thought.
Yep.
Yeah, what I was saying earlier to you, that I think that one of my favorite parts of Put a Ring on It, one of my favorite episodes, is that each season when they do the couples go on dates in the same places. They go with other people, but they end up meeting at the same spot, and they get to see their significant other in a date with somebody else. I think that is always fireworks. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the real test. If you can be out on a date with someone, but then you see your partner out, that's the real test. I think that's when the true colors come out.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh hey there too. We want to thank moderator extraordinaire LMV, who says she's at work. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for being in the bushes. That's quite all right. And Monique King, let's see what she's saying. Welcome to Put a Ring on It. Subscribe, like, share, subscribe, and thumbs up. Yeah, all of that. Oh, I
Hmm.
guess that's the like part.
Yep.
All
Welcome,
right,
welcome.
guys. Yeah, welcome, 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 welcome. We're doing this a little bit early. Yeah, we decided to try to do an afternoon. I've got the day off, and I've got a few other lives to do tonight. So we wanted to try to get this one underway early. And so we'll get started.
Okay.
So we start off. We open where we left off last week. We're still in the joint session with all the couples, and Dr. Stacy is talking to Dunbar and Chance. And she's asking them to take this seriously, because basically, we know week before, Chance is kind of the lady. She's kind of debating with the doctor, and she seems to kind of do that a lot. But we'll come around to that a little bit later. Um,
Hmm.
she wants to know, do you want to be, she asked the couple, do you want to be married 5 times? And of course they say, oh, no, 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 we don't want that. And then the doctor says, treat the dates the way you want to be treated.
Hmm.
Yes. So, and of course, at the end, when they do the confessional, Dunbar says that Dr. Stacy is missing the point. I don't know. I don't know. What did you think? Did you think that the doctor is missing the point?
No, not at all. Dunbar is delusional in that moment, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, you can see that there seems to be something going on with him and with Chance.
Yeah, there's something bubbling under the surface with those two.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We're not quite sure what it is, what the stuff is, which is where I think they get the title of this week's episode. What is the stuff?
Yeah,
It's like they're trying to hide it from everybody, including the therapist, which is not helpful, because you need to be open and honest. If you ever sit down and go to a therapist, whether by yourself or with a spouse or mate or family member, you have to be honest. Otherwise, nothing will get accomplished.
that's true.
So I said, well, if she's missing the point, I'm missing the point too.
Yeah, we all are because, they're hiding something.
They're hiding something, exactly. Like, right. And so then, as we move along, Joya shares with the doctor in the session with all the couples. She shares that she wiped her date's crumb from his mouth, and of course, Jasha, her guy. Am I saying that right, Roro?
Yeah,
How do you
that's
say it?
correct, Jasha.
Jasha. It's
Yes.
different. It always tickles my tongue when I say it. But yeah, but
Yep.
Jasha, he says that that was okay, and then he turns to her and he says, "But you used a napkin, right? You used a napkin. You didn't use your fingertips, and you didn't massage his beard like you do mine." I thought that
Hmm.
was cute.
Hmm.
I think they all the couples are cute and they look cute together. But who do you think right now? Who's your favorite couple?
Mm, it's hard.
Hmm.
Because I just don't see, I just see problems, real serious problems with all of them. But
Maybe I'll rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. Which couple, just physically now, which couple is your favorite couple to look at?
mm, I'm gonna have
Okay.
to say Joya and Jasha,
Yeah,
I
that
guess.
that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. That's what I was thinking. I think that all the couples look good together, but I was gonna say, yeah, I think Joya and Jason, for me, physically, they just look really, really good together. So,
Yeah.
and we move on to Ricky's girl, Catherine. Um, and apparently, Catherine, she tells everybody that she put her date's red roses by his side, by Ricky's side of the bed.
Hmm. Strategy.
Strategy, yeah. I think it's strategy, but you know what? Tell me what you think. Kat is starting to give me insecure vibes. What do you think?
Well, I kind of felt that already. She's not sure. He
Hmm.
doesn't seem to be very serious to me. He
No,
doesn't seem to be as serious as she is, at least.
no, no. And we're gonna get into their living arrangements too at the house, but we're gonna
Mm.
get to that a little bit later. But
Mhm.
but Kat does say that her date was funny and a very good listener, and she tells the doctor that her man Ricky is not a good listener. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, so hopefully he's paying attention to that.
That's true. That's true. Well, Joya passes on another date with Kyle because she says he was too busy trying to woo her and she didn't like that. Jasha feels good about it. Chance also passes on her date, another date with Phil. And Dunbar says that, yeah, his woman Chance needs a man, not a baby.
Right. Well, that's because she said Phil was not mature enough. She was looking
Mm,
for somebody a little bit more mature,
mm,
so that's where he got
mm-hmm.
that from.
Right. I thought it was interesting that Dunbar he concluded in his confessional that he's a successful man with no felonies and that this is a rare thing. Did you have any kind of thought about that?
Yeah, I heard him say that, hmm, not too much to say about that. I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's the thing you should be looking out for. Make sure you don't have any felonies. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
who says, who knows? You can't just assume that a man, and I guess in his case a black man, would have felonies.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Catherine declines to give Mark a second date, basically based on the fact that he's also divorced and has a child like Ricky, her man Ricky. Um, Ricky doesn't even look concerned. What do you think?
Well, I don't blame Catherine for that. Ricky, like I said, he's kind of giving me surface vibes. He's just kind of
Mm,
going along with it for now. I
okay.
don't. He doesn't seem serious.
Mm-mm. No, no, he doesn't. And so we move on to the next scene where the men are getting ready for their date. We see Jay Shah. He's telling us in his confessional as he's getting ready for his date that he's a go with the flow kind of guy. I thought that was interesting. We see his date walking up. Selena, she's approaching, and I thought she looked pretty stunning. She was pretty beautiful. Um, I thought she was had a very beautiful face and smile. Also was serving the body oddy oddy, I says.
Hmm. Oh, yes, she was.
Yeah, and even his woman Joya noticed that. So they get on their date, and they seem to have a lot of chemistry and things in common. Tell me about what you thought about their date.
Oh, I thought their date was really nice. The fact that they both speak a little Spanish, they
Mm-hmm.
travel, they like to travel. They seem to really have a lot in common, like you said, and hit it off real well. So Joya might be, she should be concerned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then what was the other thing I thought that was interesting was that the date Celine, she is only 30, and
Hmm.
she says she's not worried about, marriage and children. She's just enjoying her life right now. And isn't that kind of like, I think that's a bone of contention between Jasha and his girl Joya, is that she's ready to get married.
Oh yeah. And, she's 37, so she's kind of feeling the time clock weighing down on
Mm-hmm.
her. It's bearing
Mm-hmm.
down on her. That's the difference, you know.
Yeah, that 7 year, just those 7 years can go by so quick, and they make a big difference in terms of having a child, having children. So yeah, she's feeling the time crunch.
Hmm.
Ricky, then we move over to, now we can kind of talk about this a little bit more. Ricky and Catherine and their large household. What in the
Mm.
world is going on with Ricky and
I
Catherine?
don't know. I don't know. I thought maybe it was the parents' house because
Hmm.
it's kind of odd that his sister and her family lives there and the
Right.
brother just drops by at will, it seems like. But he
Hmm.
said that Catherine moved into his house and he pays for everything.
Yeah, that's what he said. He pays for most of the large items, right? So that's why he doesn't do a lot of apparently the first episode he said that, he paid for mostly everything. So he doesn't spend a lot of money on her, specifically like dates and flowers and frivolous things like that. Let me go over here and see what this comment is. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Uh, okay.
Who
Ellen
is
B
it?
chimes in. She says about 10 people in that house. Yeah, 10 or 12. Like, I'm wondering, and I hate to be, don't get angry with me, guys, but a thing is a thing sometimes, if it's a joke in a community. I'm wondering if he's like Caribbean, from the Caribbean islands, because a lot of times you'll see where people have a lot of people living in their household like that, like two and three families. So I'm
Oh
just what,
yeah.
yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, it could be, maybe not, maybe they're not, but I thought it was interesting that his date said that she was from, she was Caribbean. Um, what what is
What?
LMV? LMV says Catherine. She thinks Catherine was homeless and jobless, and they told her to move in. Um,
Hmm.
what was it, LMV? Do you remember? That's a good point. What was it that had happened last episode? Didn't they say that her mom had also passed away, or somebody, a family member she was taking care of?
Her
Uh,
grandmother?
was it the grandmother? Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. That's why she had
Oh,
to move back to wherever state she had lived in before to take care of her
oh,
grandmother because her grandmother raised her.
oh, okay. Okay. So then maybe the grandmother did pass away in the period of time. Because I'm trying to put this timeline together. Because first of all, they say they've been friends for 10 years, but wasn't he recently married? So like, were
Yeah,
they so-called friends while he had a whole wife? I don't
I
I
don't
don't
know.
understand. I don't
I don't know.
understand. It's, yeah.
You
Monique
know,
says move in. They got that kind of household where you move in and get in when you. I've seen and heard of that,
that's
but
messed up.
I like my own. I guess an only child. I like my own stuff. Okay, like don't
Hmm.
no. Uh, someone did, but yeah, Roro cleared it up. She said it was the grandmother.
Hmm.
Then
Hmm.
LMV says 10 years alive.
10
Yeah,
years
you
alive.
know what? Is
Yeah,
it starting to give us Darion vibes? Are we starting to get Darion, and was it Alexis?
yeah. It's still kind of weird, that situation, but maybe he got divorced and they found
Mhm.
each other after she came back. She looked him up or something and let him know she was back in town. I don't know.
We know somebody. You and I, we all here. If you're familiar with this channel, we all know somebody that something similar to that happened to. But I'm not throwing out any names right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Those things happen. Like you keep in touch. I remember I was dating an attorney, and then we went a
Hmm.
walk. We went away from each other, and then years later, I was going through my little Rolodex, and I said, "Let me call this fine attorney." And
Hmm.
I opened with the line after we said our hellos. I said, "So okay, are you married with 10 children now?"
Uh-oh.
And he said I'm recently divorced. I said, "Okay, when we going out?"
I know that's right.
Oh, I was a pistol
Get
in my
in where you
day.
fit in.
Roro, you and I were pistols back in the day. You know that?
Hey.
So, I mean, but the thing about it was, I didn't keep in touch with him. So, I'm not going to say we had a 10-year friendship. I would say I knew him 10 years ago before he met his wife. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I just don't understand the wording of all of that. But anyway, so I'm getting back to Ricky and his date. So his date,
Hmm.
uh her name is Sheila, and I thought she was really cute. She's an RN with red hair, and she drives a Beamer. During the
Hmm.
date, we find out that she's what is this? Oh my lord, my notes are horrible. Anyway, their date seems to go smooth and easy. What do you think about their date?
Yeah, he liked her. He definitely liked her red hair. He liked her looks. They seemed to get along pretty well.
Mhm.
She listened to his story. Um,
Mhm.
so that story was very interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, the date went smooth and easy. Oh, and I left out this part. I thought it was interesting. So as they were leaving out, after they had left out, Ricky's family was busy giving his girl Kat a few jabs. Like, yeah, she's kind of, she looking good, girl. What you feel about that? Oh, she's Caribbean girl. She
Hmm.
Jamaican girl. And Kat saying, yeah, but she better not be bringing no spices to our house.
Yeah, but don't drop no spices on my man.
Oh, my man, yeah, you know what that's all about, right?
Hmm. I
Drop
don't
down in the
blame her.
right, drop down in the comment section and here in the chat if you don't know what those spices, what she talking about with them spices, right? What is she talking about, Robo? Can you
I
tell us?
don't know. I'm not Caribbean.
I think what she was saying, she's going a little deeper into it. It was a little more than spices. I'm speculating here, but
Yeah,
bear
I
with me.
mean, I
I think
yeah.
she's saying that she don't want her man to get no spells put upon him, right?
Oh,
No seduction
oh,
spells.
yeah,
That's what I think she was leading to, but she didn't come right out and say that.
yes. You don't want none of that juju put on him.
There you go. There you go. That in a nutshell, that is it. In a nutshell,
Hmm.
yes. And then we move on to okay, so Dunbar. Dunbar has a woman coming to pick him up for their date. Wait a minute. Let's see. Let me get to Dunna D. How you doing, Dunna D? Ricky. Let me see. What does that say? Ricky kept his boundaries in place by not tasting her food and whatnot. Exactly. Yeah. You know what he did? He did because some of the other guys they do that food exchange situation, and I don't like that. I don't think that's.
Hmm.
I think that's yeah. You're right. That's a boundary, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. That's a good point. Very good point. And so getting back to Dunbar and Crystal. What did you think about Dunbar and Crystal's and about the engagement that Chance had once Crystal came into their home to pick up Dunbar?
Okay, so she was just a mirror of Dunbar when her date came. She
Mm-hmm.
showed her natural, you know what?
Mm-hmm. Behind, we'll say
Yes,
behind.
she did. She showed
Or
her natural
ours.
behind.
Uh-huh.
Yes, she
Uh-huh.
did. It was just really ugly the way she behaved,
Yeah, she sat
threatening
down in
him
his
and all of
lap,
that.
threatening it. Well, that was before the date, but when the date got there, she sat all in his lap and you know, played with him to kind of mark her territory, I guess, right? And
Hmm.
Crystal smiled and took it with ease. So on the date, we see them talking, and Crystal apparently is quite religious. We find
Hmm.
out that she's also a youth minister too,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
And the key thing is she tells Dunbar is that she knows she's going to have to submit to him. What did you think about that conversation?
I mean, Dunbar lit up like a Christmas tree. That's what
He
he was
did.
he wanted to hear. It's almost as if he, custom ordered her, because this is what he claims he is looking for with Chance, correct? Like
Hmm.
he wants her to be more submissive or to be submissive. And
Right.
I like that he asked her what was her definition of submissive, or did she understand what being submissive means? And I like that
Hmm.
he made
Yeah.
that clear.
Right. Yeah. Because, and that was a good point because everybody's submissive. Their definition could mean something different. So I like that he said that too. And she gave
Mhm.
apparently the definition that matched his.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Monique. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely join the A team. Make sure you hit the like button. Help us out in the algorithm, guys. Sometimes you be hanging on YouTube by a thread because there's so many channels out there. And I love, a good channel. But if you love our channel, if you like our channel, please, just help me out, help us out. Like the video, share it out if you know someone that watches the show as well. Consider joining the membership, right? Watch a playlist sometimes when you're at work or driving, got a long drive. Listen to the playlist, okay? Those are all
Mhm.
things that help us all out. I appreciate you.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mm-mm. No, I was just saying yes, yes. Come on over to the A team.
Okay. All right. Yep. So the day went smooth. Crystal is interesting, and oh, and one other thing. So Dunbar was saying about Crystal, in his confessional when he was talking about his date with her. One of the things he also appreciated, besides her being submissive, is what that she was very covered up and very modest in her attire. Right?
Mhm.
Did you
Mhm.
notice that her skirt was below her knee?
Oh yes, yes. She
Hmm.
was very conservatively dressed.
Conservatively, thank you for those words. Conservatively dressed, she was. And so he gets home. He has a conversation with his girl Chance, and they begin to talk about. Chance is basically stating that why does the home visit have to start with them first? But we see Dr. Stacy arrives, and she greets everybody with a hug. They hug her back.
Mhm.
They sit down to talk, and as they're talking, there's something going on with Dunbar. So she asks that Chance, give them a chance to speak, alone. And the doctor asks Dunbar what's going on, and he says that there's something that he's afraid of. What do you think it might be? What do you think it could be?
I have no clue. All I can think of is was something dealing with maybe something between him and his mother in the past, or
Possibly.
some figure in his family, some female figure in his family of authority. You
Yes,
know.
yes. So, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me just jump in here and throw this in, and then I can ask you what you think about it. Also, Dunbar said to the doctor, he says, "I don't know how to handle a strong, independent woman."
Yeah.
What is that all about? Because it seems like the woman that he's with, Chance, she seems exactly to be that.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Since that's what she is, he can't handle her. And he's afraid probably of losing her, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because, he doesn't know how to relate to her or how to communicate with her, probably.
Mm. Or even I'm thinking how to control her.
Oh yeah, now definitely. Because
Go
yeah,
ahead.
that seems to be an issue with both of them to me. They both are very seemingly wanting to be controlling people, and
Mhm.
you can't have two people like that in the same in a relationship because all they're going to do is bump heads.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm feeling. But I'm not sure. I'm thinking like you said though too that I think that there's a strong possibility that he's expressing all of this now as an adult, but there was some woman in his past, possibly his mother, grandmother, somebody in authority that he spent a lot of time with, and these feelings of not having control maybe are coming out with his woman, right? Um, I think it's interesting. So next week we see the trailer for next week because and we
Mhm.
end up, she's asking him the question. He's telling the doctor that he's never shared this with anyone else, and he just becomes very emotional and starts to really cry.
Mhm.
And we don't really get into what it is, so we're going to find that out. I'm assuming next week. Uh, the interesting thing also on another note, the ladies are going to be going out on a date with somebody they already know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. So I guess our girl Jeffrey, I don't think she could have handled this process.
No, definitely not. That's what they should have done to her.
Pull somebody out that she had
Yes.
already pardon me guys. Oh my goodness. That would have been funny. That would have been
Hmm.
funny. And then the other thing that's interesting that we see a slight little trailer of is that Miss Chance is bumping heads with Dr. Stacy. What's going on?
I don't understand her. I'm. That's where the question comes to me too. Like, what is your stuff? Like she's asking them, what is your stuff?
What is your
Because
stuff, right?
if you're gonna argue with the therapist, then why are you there? Obviously you already know what you want. You got it all figured out. So why are you there in the first place? Because all she's doing is bumping heads with Dr. Stacy, and that's not cool.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. What else do you think that you think that what do we think too? Let's think about this for a second. Tell me, just comment for a second. What do you think about the fact that Chan said that her mother passed away when she was very young, like I think about 8?
Yeah, and her dad raised her, her dad and
Mhm.
her grandmother, correct? From what I
Yeah,
remember from the first episode, her dad
yeah.
and her grandmother. So, maybe she just don't have that type of bond where she can really like communicate with women with other women because of that, maybe.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm thinking that, and I'm just thinking too. You gotta stop and think for a minute, though. No matter who comes in, there's another female that steps in to be a surrogate, and that's great. I'm not knocking that, but I'm saying the
Mhm.
loss of your actual mother that could possibly affect a young child or even an older child. I know the loss of
Mhm.
my dad affected me greatly, and I was 19. So I'm
Mhm.
just wondering, at 8 years old, you lose your mom. How
Mhm.
does that make you feel about women? How does that affect your connection to women? Are you afraid to even connect with women because you're afraid, like we're hearing from on Married at First Sight with Eris, I wanted to say
Mhm.
Airhead, but Eris, the fact that he lost his father. No, seriously though, the fact his father at 11, it obviously has a huge effect on him,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
caused him some severe limitations, I would say, and he's not addressed it at all at 40 years old. Almost, he has not addressed it from what I see, at least in my opinion. Dundee has some really good questions. She says, one thing I thought was inconsiderate was, I forgot about that. Dunbar said that this was the best date he ever had, and I wonder what Chance is going to think about that when she sees it. Isn't that a
Yeah.
good question?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure he didn't tell her that. She's probably gonna have to see it on the show like we did, you
Right, right,
know.
right. It's in that confessional. She says also that Dunbar is insecure about Chance's relationship with her dad. Oh, yes, that was another thing he said. I left that out. Okay, thank you
Mhm.
for your reminder. Good, great reminders. Um, so Dunbar in the conversation with the doctor and in front of his woman was saying that she is always going to her father for advice about her business, about this book launch, about the various accomplishments that she's had and done. And I guess he felt rather left out or not needed. Did you have any feelings about that, Roro?
Yeah, I mean, he felt like a second choice because she would go to her father first, he said, and get his opinion. So before she would come to him. But I guess, I kind of understand that a little bit because that's all she's known, it's her father, um, since she was a little girl to lean on, basically.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I can
You know,
understand that a little bit.
That's a point. That's a point. But I'm wondering as I think about it, and I don't dispute that she shouldn't be able to go to her father. If my dad was alive, when I was, as a young adult. I'm sure he would have been very active and involved in my life. But I'm wondering, as a woman, I'm assuming she's at least in her 30s. I'm
Hmm.
wondering too, is she kind of helped the two men to become friendly with one another? You know what I'm saying? Like if you've been with a man for a whole year and he's considering marrying you, I think that sometimes we have to do a little work to bridge our family with our significant other
Yeah.
so
Or
that
it
he
could be the
doesn't.
father.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. It could be her father. Maybe her father is not willing to, you know, to make the relationship closer yet, you know. It could be
Yeah,
him.
yeah. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. And then, the thought comes through my mind too. What was Dunbar's relationship with his own dad?
Oh yeah, yeah, that could be a factor as well, you know.
Hmm.
If his dad wasn't around, then he doesn't understand that type of bond.
Yes. Oh wow. There's so much under the surface. We just never really know how a person has been in their family life, their family of origin. I always think it is really, really important for those of us women who are dating, for commitment, for marriage,
Hmm.
collecting data. I think those are things that you should definitely collect data about in your dating life is, what's a man's relationship with his mother and his father? What was it like growing up through his teen years? And, if you've been with that man for a while and he says he's serious about you, is he building a pathway and a bridge between you and his family? Is he letting you
Yes.
get to know them, spend time around them, talking you up in a good way?
Yeah.
Because that, and I'm going to just say this real quick, and before we get off the air, um,
Hmm.
I was thinking back, going back now to Catherine and Ricky. I
Hmm.
wonder what he says to his family that, she's saying that she wants them to get their own place, but yet, because they always jump into their discussion so easily. What did you think about that?
Well, I don't blame her. I mean, but still, you know, she was hot to try to move in there with him, you know. So now you're thinking about it. Now you're thinking about, you know, you need your own space. She didn't consider that before she moved in. She, you know, obviously was just so ready to be with him under any circumstances. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, now she, you know,
Yeah,
she
that
woke
that
up.
yeah, that's a point. But now, what about as somebody said in the chat? What if she really? It was like that was the only one of her best options that she had available.
Mm,
She was
okay.
pressed for a place to live, a roof over her head. You know what I'm saying?
Does she have a family? I don't know. I I
That's
don't
a good.
know.
That's a
That's a
good
hard one
point.
for me to take, you know, because
That
why didn't she go to her own family
But
if that was the case?
not everybody has a family, a cohesive family, or a family that wants to take them in when they need something. So that's a very good point. But these are all questions hopefully we're going to find out by watching, continuing to watch this week's episode, because I'm really curious too. What is her background? Where's her family at? And
Hmm.
why, like you said, to your point, why, if she doesn't like living with him and his family, maybe why not strike out and get your own place? Not saying you even have to break up the relationship, but you wouldn't have to listen to all this jibber jabber in your ear if you had your own apartment, maybe,
That's true.
you
You
know?
know, so
So, hmm
she seems
lots.
well, able-bodied adult. She should be able to find a way to make her own living, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming she's gainfully employed. That's my assumption. I always start from the highest assumption until they tell me something differently. So I'm
Hmm.
assuming she's employed. I don't know. I think I've heard recently that Atlanta has gone up greatly in terms of the cost of living. So that could be
Hmm.
an issue. Like a lot of, people have a hard time maintaining a residence if it's just them, their salary, just one salary, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. But anything else you're thinking of before we go, Roro?
No, I think that, you know, that pretty much says it.
All right. All right, that's Roro on the job, our A team member and co-host. Our brand new co-host who's been co-hosting and been on panels. She is becoming a huge star here on the
A
YouTube.
star.
Yes, let me talk, Roro. Quit interrupting me. She is becoming a huge star here on YouTube in these YouTube streets. Roro for real. And Roro for real, let's say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Monique. It sure was. I enjoyed it. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. And thanks again to our A team members, Monique, Ellen King, Roro. Think about joining, and thank you guys for keeping the chat safe. Monique King, we thank you as our moderator extraordinaire. Yes, and we'll be back this evening with Love and Marriage DC.
Mhm.
So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next video, guys. We're gonna get on out of here.